I'm here in the art room ready to show you how to make collagraph rubbings. So to start, you're going to need to get some very thin cardboard, and the best way to do this is to get a cereal box. So get a cereal box, take the cereal bag out of it, make sure it's safely stored, and then you can cut up the box. One of the sides is going to be the back. So it'll look something like this. That'll be your back, which you're going to glue everything to. And the other large side will be for you to cut up to create a design. So get your materials ready and we'll get started. All right, I have my thin cardboard. This is going to be the cardboard I'm going to glue things to, and this is my piece of cardboard. It's very thin that I'm going to cut up. If you would like, you could draw your shapes first and then cut them out. A lot of times that's easier for me. You want to decide on your design, and if you have something very specific in mind, you can cut them out from the cardboard after drawing them. So if I know I want to do some sort of underwater scene, which I usually really like to do, I'm going to draw some things that I could use in my picture and then cut them out. I also want to draw parts and pieces of a sea creature too, so I could use a different part of cardboard for that. So let's say I'm gonna have some sort of sea creature. This is going to be the body. Maybe I'll have this be a fin and this be a fin. So I'm just gonna draw some things out, and then I can cut it out and use it later. I'll want an eye on my fish, so maybe I can cut a circle. So you can have layers for your collagraphs. So I'm gonna start cutting these parts and pieces out, and then maybe cut out a few from my imagination that aren't drawn first. When you're cutting, it's okay if you don't cut exactly on the lines, because this part of the design doesn't really matter, because we are going to make a rubbing of our cardboard pieces. All right, once you feel like you have a lot of parts and pieces for your collagraph, what you want to do is arrange them on your cardboard background and then glue them down. And when you glue them down, regular glue will work better than a glue stick, but you could use a glue stick. Just make sure you use enough glue. So first, before I do any gluing, I'm going to kind of arrange where my parts and pieces are going to go. And I want to try not to have more than 3 layers of sea creature things. So I want to just make sure that if I have 2 layers, it's okay. 3 may be pushing it, so you just want to be kind of careful about that. And I've got some bubbles I'm going to be adding there. Maybe put that there. Okay. And I've got some coral at the bottom. And I made these little pieces. I thought these might be fun lines for details in the tail or in the fins. I realized I kind of think I may want them a little thinner and a little shorter. So I'm going to make some adjustments. And then I'm going to glue everything down. So when you're gluing things down, try to be careful not to get glue showing. You only want the glue to be where it's supposed to go. So first I'm going to start with this fin, and I'm going to press that down. And then I'm going to do the eye and the other fin, and I'm going to keep going, getting everything glued down. All right, so I've got everything glued down, but sometimes it wants to kind of curl at the corners with that wet glue. So as you're working, I suggest to put another piece of paper on and just really press it down really good while it's drying. If you want to, you may even put a piece of plastic over it and then something heavy. So that's gonna dry, and then we're going to get our crayons ready for the next part. So this will have to dry for probably an hour or two, and then you can do the rubbing part of the Collagraph. Okay, so while my fish one is drying, I'm going to use one that I've already made, so I didn't have to wait for my fish to dry. For this one, I experimented and used hot glue. Hot glue seems to be working okay, but I do have some of those little spider webs I'm afraid are going to show up when I do my Collagraph. What I like to do is, if you have some masking tape, I like to tape my paper down. It helps things not move around on you. So I'm just going to first tape my Collagraph down onto my table. Do that first. And I'm trying to just do it at the very edge because that tape might show up when I do my texture rubbing. Now I want to put my paper on top, and I'm also going to tape that down because I don't want that to move around on me. So I'm going to kind of line it up. And again, just another little piece of tape at the top and the bottom. All right, so for texture rubbing, you need crayons without wrappers. So I happen to have these kind of materials in the art room. It's called a Crayola color stick, and it's kind of like a crayon without a wrapper, but it's a little harder, kind of like a mix between a crayon and a colored pencil. So I'm going to use that, but you could use one color of crayon. I prefer a darker color. I'm going to hold it kind of like this, and I'm going to just kind of stand up and do this and put some pressure on it and just press and rub. And my goal is for all of the materials that I glued on to show up in some way. You can kind of see the outlines of things, and you can kind of see why pressing and rubbing is a great idea. It's showing up. If you can't see something, like I can't see the corner of the eye, I'm going to just kind of hold my paper down there and press there. Great. Everything's showing up pretty well. The mouth isn't showing up so great, so I'm going to actually bend my crayon a little bit toward that area so it shows up better. Now I'm going to have the edge of the cardboard show up there. And the edge of the cardboard show up there. So keep pressing and rubbing until you can see all parts of your design, everything that you glued on. This is a Collagraph rubbing. Now, something else fun that you can do after you're done rubbing your Collagraph is you can cover it with foil, and that's also something else that's fun to do. What you can do is put glue stick over the whole thing and then press and rub a piece of foil on top, and I will show you how to do that next. All right, so I have a sheet of aluminum foil that is a little bit bigger than my Collagraph cardboard. And now what I want to do is, with a glue stick, pretty quickly, I'm gonna try to cover the whole thing with a thin layer of glue stick. I don't want to get globs because that will show up on my Collagraph. So I'm trying to kind of go in rows. All right, now I'm going to turn my Collagraph over and center it on my foil. So I'm gonna kind of make sure it's on my foil. I'm gonna press and rub. Then I'm gonna flip this over. All right, now I'm gonna press and rub this with my fingers. You can start to see some of your design showing up. If you're having trouble, if your fingers are sticky or you're having trouble pressing and rubbing, you could put a piece of paper towel or fabric between your fingers. That might help. But I'm really trying to press all that glue down to the cardboard, and I really want all of my designs to show up. So I want my eyebrows to show up, my eyes, my nose, the space between the lips. So I'm really trying to press. You could use your thumb. Again, I'm standing up to do this because I feel like it helps. Now the aluminum foil can bend and stretch just a little bit. If you force it too much, sometimes it will rip. So I'm trying not to make it rip, but I do want it to try to press down and really be adhered to those areas. Okay, so once you feel like you've got that done, you can flip it over and glue your foil to the back. So I'm gonna add a little more glue to the sides here. And I'm gonna fold that in, press it down. Now I'm going to do this side. Got this little piece sticking off. We'll see what happens to that. It's gonna mess up my fold a little bit. All right, now I just need to do the top and the bottom. Now the top, usually I kind of fold that in just a little bit, kind of like I'm wrapping a present. Little triangle fold in there, and then I'm going to fold it down. And same thing with the other end. If I don't fold in the corners like triangles, they'll stick out a little bit. So I'm gonna fold that in like a triangle. And now I'm gonna fold it down. And now my collagraph is still showing up, this time in foil. I decided to go ahead and Sharpie my design, and I like it a lot. I think it helps all of the cardboard pieces in my collagraph show up, and I just used my black Sharpie on this. Again, you could color it if you had colorful Sharpies, but watercolor markers won't work. They'll just rub right off, back right onto your skin or your clothes. So have fun with this, enjoy, and I'll see you next time.